Okay, now we're live.
All right. So, welcome everyone again to episode 3 of Comic Couch, where you have me, Gab, the resident nerd over at 17 Waverly Podcast, along with my frustrating co-host, Rom.
Yerp.
Yes, say hello. Who knows absolutely nothing about comics, as we try to go through the latest stuff that I want to talk about, what's happening in nerd culture, as he annoys the fuck out of me for 30 minutes, trying to get him up to speed.
We out here.
So there's a couple things that have happened this week since our last episode that I think are topics of interest.
Right.
Ramel, there's anything off the top of your head that you want to ask, or that you're thinking about, or they're just a little bit on your radar?
I saw that you had written an article.
All right.
For our website, our wonderful, beautiful website, 17waverlypodcast.com.
Sure.
Something about the new gods versus the Eternals.
We're already off to a really great start this week. Episode 3 just off to a great start. Yes, I did write a piece about
I saw the title, did not read it because I don't know what it means.
All right, well, I think... the thing is about...
I would like to know.
The thing about titles is, just call me crazy. I think if you actually engage the material, you would find out what that means.
Right.
Because that's what the point of an article is.
Right. So I do remember the other day you were mentioning a group of superheroes. No,
sure.
Mind you, I'm giving
Keep going.
You
You're fine. You haven't
memory here.
You haven't crossed the red tape yet. You're fine.
A group of heroes, and this group of heroes was written by a guy, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna cut you off soon. It's getting pretty dark.
That wrote this group of heroes for DC,
right?
But then he left DC,
sure,
and then wrote the same kind of group of heroes, but for Marvel, the competitor.
Okay.
And what happened?
I like your fake enthusiasm.
And
for
what
the
happened
subject.
is,
really great.
What happened is the Marvel version of it got popular, or the DC version of it got popular.
Judges, do we cut them? Yes. Okay, you're eliminated now. Like as far as you're allowed to go.
Sure.
All right, but that's a very good kind of tidbit on a little bit. Tipping the
and that's all. That's as far as I know. I don't know who's in the groups. I don't know what superheroes there are. If there's All
right. Well, let's just start from the beginning then. Let's start with a little subject we talked about in episode 1 of the series. We talked about some of the stuff that happened over at Comic-Con for the MCU's announcements.
Right.
There's a film that's been announced over at the MCU for Phase 4 called The Eternals.
Right.
Do you remember
so
that?
This is why, for those listening, this is why you wrote this article, like why you brought this up.
I brought this up because certain
Eternals
things
got
have been
announced.
developing at both Warner, which is the studio that runs DC movies, and the Marvel Studios camp, and
Right.
that they're just a little bit fishy.
Mostly because when the announcement came out that they were doing all these new movies and shows, when I got to the part where it said the Eternals, I had no idea what the fuck that was.
No one does. So let's begin from the beginning. So yes, Marvel announced that they have a movie coming out called The Eternals. It is based off one of their comic properties. The thing is that even amongst diehard comic fans, and I would call myself, I think I say in the in my article, I'm like a committed casual comic fan.
Right.
I know a good deal about comics. I don't know like the deep shit.
Right.
But let me say, like, even like really committed comic fans don't know nor care who the Eternals are.
So you're like a B level comic guy.
That's fine. I'll take that hat. You're not insulting me. That's fine. I would say I'm a B level comic fan. Yes, sure. Because there's a lot of characters I don't know or care about. Like,
should have gone C. The more insulting, the better.
Remember, we only have 30 minutes. So let's just stay focused. Yeah. So the Eternals is a movie that's been announced for the MCU. A lot of comic fans don't even know what the fuck this is.
Right.
But to backtrack a little bit, well, not to backtrack, but other things that have been developing that haven't been too big on the radar, but have started to kind of gain more attention recently, is that Warner, DC Comics, the DC movies, are in works to produce a movie based on a comic property called The New Gods.
Okay. So this is just this is a whole new project that DC's working on.
The New Gods movie, it's a new thing. All right. So the thing that makes this interesting is, now this is where we get into the history portion where you were kind of touching on you were a little bit correct.
Sure.
there was someone named by the name of Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was someone who worked with Stan Lee when they created Marvel. Okay. So Jack Kirby was a close partner of Stan Lee in creating iconic Marvel superheroes.
Name. Continue.
God damn it. Yes. He left Marvel for a time and went over to DC.
Oh, so he worked with Marvel first.
He worked with Marvel first, then went over to DC.
Right. They did not make him sign a non-compete.
No. And so he went over to DC Comics, and then there he's like, I don't want to do the same kind of stories that I've already been doing. I want to do something completely new. Right. And then he came up with this concept for a comic book called The New Gods. It ran for 11 issues before it got canceled, and then at some point later, he returned back to Marvel.
Oh, what a scum sucker.
Still wanting to basically, like, I think he still was like, withdraw, like, I didn't get to completely finish the story that I want. And also, Jack Kirby's an icon. Watch it. Like his art and like the aesthetic to like the things that he's done. Thor Ragnarok. I know we both don't really like that movie, but the aesthetic, that like original textures and colors and shapes of that movie. That's such a tip of the hat to Jack Kirby's style of art.
Gab, if a guy works for McDonald's,
I need a new host.
If a guy works for McDonald's and he invents the quarter pounder.
Oh, no.
And then he goes to Burger King and creates a quarter pounder with a different name and then goes back to McDonald's? Like, come on, man. You can't. Why are you dipping in all the fucking competitors? He's a Benedict Arnold.
Okay, Brady Bunch. Listen. God damn it. Jack Kirby went back to Marvel, and then he decided to create a concept for a comic book called The Eternals. Now, again, both are created by the same guy, and though they're not identical, they got some similarities.
That's what I'm saying. It's
in terms of their their power sets. Both groups are immortals. Both they live forever. Both have heightened strength. Both races have heightened strength,
right?
Endurance, durability, blah blah. The Eternals have some. Well, so do some of the new gods too. The new gods, okay. The new gods are about two rival planets.
Who was first? The new gods.
The new gods were the first comic property. Yes. Ironically, they're called the new gods, but they were the first ones.
Right.
Of these two, it was based off the creation of two planets called New Genesis and the planet Apocalypse. That name should already sound familiar to you, even though you're a fucking idiot when it comes to comics.
Apocalypse. Yes.
So, on both of these planets, the new gods inhabit, where New Genesis is a utopia, a heaven of sorts. Apocalypse is a machine orgy heat wave of hell.
DC.
This is DC. And Apocalypse is ruled by Darkseid.
Darkseid. Okay.
So Darkseid is the one who rules over Apocalypse.
So Darkseid in this is like the Thanos of
DC. I even don't think that's an unfair thing to say because Thanos, if I'm not mistaken, is a Divergent, which we'll talk about the Eternals a little bit in a minute.
Yeah.
But
okay, so there's these two planets. This one is dope. One that's a metal. That's not dope.
And then both are inhabited by new gods, and they've been feuding at war with each other.
These two planets.
The new gods race is immortal. Blah blah blah.
Right, but the Euphoria planet, Utopia planet, New Genesis. This one's like a bunch of goodies and shit.
Sure, Mel. They're a bunch of goodies.
And then Darkseid planet is
evil
shit. Okay.
When he makes the Eternals are based off of a race of humans that were a group of humans that were experimented on by these cosmic entities known as the Celestials. You will have seen these mechanic metal giants. They made a cameo in the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Aren't they in X-Men?
No.
Celestials?
Nope. Though you're thinking about Sentinels. Man-made robots, not the same thing. This is an official job. This is an official job posting for Comic Couch. I need someone else to sit with
Sentinels.
me.
Okay. Sentinels are X-Men.
Fuck.
Okay, yeah. Actually, not even the same company.
No, no, they are the same. But they're both Marvel.
Oh wait, we're talking about Marvel here.
God damn it.
Okay. Okay, wait. So
Anyway, Celestials made the Eternals.
Right.
The Eternals have been around since the dawn of man, pretty much, and they've assisted humankind in their development for language, technology.
Right.
They've just been around throughout all of development of, and then there was this. I want to say they're called Divergence. I might be wrong. I might be thinking about that really bad book, but there is another race that was
movie
created.
was trash too.
Absolute ass.
Divergence.
So bad.
So trash.
But there was another race that was created that was like grotesque, deformed people, and I think Thanos is an Eternal. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty confident Thanos is an Eternal.
Yeah, here's where the B level comic guy comes out.
And Thanos might be an Eternal, and in that way, kind of seems like Darkseid in this on the same. They're both same in size, in scope, in testicle chin, in
testicle chin. Correct. Yes.
In feel,
with the ball
in
dimple
evil,
and ball wrinkles,
and like they're both a part of an immortal race.
Right.
Super like so they have their things. Only Darkseid is way fucking cooler than Thanos.
Oh yeah.
So now it was recently announced and confirmed that Darkseid will be in the New Gods movie.
Okay.
Which was all I assumed. Like you're not going to make New Gods and not put Darkseid in it. That's ridiculous.
My question is, does this New God shit pertain, or is it at any way at all connected to the shit that we've already seen from DC?
Well, that's up to DC to decide. They want to say that the DCEU is dead and they're just making random things and like just throwing them out there.
Right, which is really sad. I hate that.
But if you're talking about just in the comics and the DC universe in general, yes, New Genesis and Apocalypse play a fucking huge role in the comics because Darkseid's like the ultimate Justice League villain.
Right.
So we were going to see Darkseid in Justice League Part 2 made by Zack Snyder.
Is Darkseid ever involved with the Legion of Doom?
No. He's his own fucking bag of cats.
So the Legion of Doom really is...
I don't think Darkseid would ever waste his goddamn time with a bunch of like cheetah dressed... riddle asking bitch over at fucking Human Resources, and that one fucking guy wearing a fishbowl. Bizarro can't
Superman.
write a sentence. Writing Dreambach, like he would. Darkseid wouldn't fuck with that. So he has a planet.
Right. Darkseid is a much bigger. Thing
fuck
than
that.
The
that's
puny,
C-list.
puny Legion of Doom.
No, he's not going to Skinamax to go fuck it. No, if he's going,
You're never gonna see Darkseid with like Toyman.
Yeah, like he's not like he's going to Hollywood. He's not doing softcore porn to like pay rent. Like that's not what Darkseid's about.
You're not gonna ever see him with. It's gonna be a cold winter.
It's gonna be a cold winter. Like no, that's not Darkseid's thing.
Right.
He's gonna be the New Gods movie. Now, casual people who don't read comics don't know who the New Gods are. They certainly don't fucking know who the Eternals are.
Right.
But if you're talking about nerds propelling things or being that word of mouth to get the casual moviegoer excited about characters or being an assist in that,
right.
We know who the New Gods are. We know who we know who Big Barda is. We know who Granny Goodness is. We know who Mr. Miracle is, Darkseid, Orion. I'm excited to see all those people show up in this movie.
Right.
I don't give a fuck about the Eternals. And want me to put like to give you a frame of reference of how not on anyone's radar these characters are from the Eternals is. You got Angelina Jolie showing up at Comic-Con being cast in the Eternals movie along with Selma Hayek and freaking Rob Stark. That did not blow up Twitter. That didn't even trend. No one cared. No one knows who the Eternals are. Now, am I going past Marvel's ability to create excitement? You got Captain Marvel to cross the $1 billion club.
I'm having trouble going in and out of who owns which. New Gods is DC.
God damn it, it's DC.
Right. So they haven't announced for New Gods
casting
at all.
They've only announced a director.
Is anybody that we know?
Ava DuVernay.
Oh.
As in the woman who did.
I thought she was doing the Eternals.
No, she is doing. Someone else is doing the Eternals. She's doing New Gods.
She's doing New Gods.
So the girl,
she's good.
She's the one who brought us 13th. When They See Us.
She's good.
Selma.
Dude.
She's doing New Gods.
Wow, so she's dipping her toes into superhero shit.
And I'm fucking here for it. Because if there's anyone who's going to be able to create a superhero allegory for the things that pertain to the real world about these conflicting planets of heaven and hell.
Right. Interesting.
She's going to be able to.
This whole time, I thought she was the one doing the Eternals.
And get ready for a fucking phenomenal, diverse cast of New Gods.
Oh, of course, of course.
Get Beyonce to play Big Barda, and I'm happy.
First of all, no more Beyonce.
Whoa. To the Beehive, that's not... that doesn't represent
I just saw her in Lion King. You didn't
see her, you heard her.
Well, we heard her, but I mean, it's she's... look, she's not the greatest of actresses. She's a great, beautiful artist.
I am actually all right. You know
singer.
What? I fold. You're right.
Okay.
Don't kill us.
Great. I was going to ask you a question. Now I forgot. So, what I know you've explained where each group came from, but I want to know so that I get a better idea of the casting. Give me like a gist of like what these guys do.
Okay, so in the Eternals,
Start with the New Gods first, because I'm more interested in New Gods than Eternals.
The New Gods. The only times I've really read those comics is from
we always lean more DC,
right?
Than
with
Marvel.
this, I think you're right too, just because of their popularity. The New Gods, the comic book that came out in I think they were like the 70s, 80s or something like that when the original thing came out with Orion on the cover. I've skimmed some of those issues, but the thing that has most called my attention that I've read is Female Furies, and that's like Big Barda, Granny Goodness, and they are a sect of female warriors that work for Darkseid.
Okay. So these are bad. These are a group of females.
Big Barda's
Big Barda.
Big Barda. That's her fucking name, Big Barda, and she's fucking phenomenal, and I'm excited.
That sounds like someone that works at a truck stop diner.
God damn. She's a badass. I'm excited for her, and I know that they're gonna make her look fucking fantastic. I know Mr. Miracle and Orion is just like goals. I'm excited for all of them. I've always, and this is the thing this is completely subjective. Don't shoot me. I've always liked to see the New Gods play a part of a bigger story of the DC universe rather than them just alone in a corner.
Sure.
But again,
I mean, Marvel did that with Guardians of the Galaxy. They made them bigger than they
ever were in the comics. Yeah. So I know they're going to be able to pull it off. And I think more than anything, the goal of this movie is to introduce a character like Darkseid.
Right. I think that's the bigger play.
That's the bigger play because you introduce that character into the DCEU. If ever they want to revisit the Justice League, he's already there.
Right. Correct. He's already terrorized.
You've already introduced him. You don't have to give him a backstory. You can just fucking dive in.
True.
So I think more than anything, they say that they're done with the DCEU. I don't particularly buy it. I think they're just...
I don't either.
I think they're China-ing it. They're trying to do it really quietly, really passively, and then once they're completely ready and set, they'll strike again.
Right.
And this is for me, the reason why I wrote that article and where I brought this, I want to talk about this in general, is that I feel like this is the first real face-off between Marvel and DC.
Because they're the same similar
because they're so similar in tone, similar in aesthetic, similar in idea, and they were literally created by the exact same guy.
Right. Okay. So I mean, this is legitimately a face-off, one-on-one.
Yeah.
One group versus the other, built by the same guy.
Right. Like when people were trying to say that Captain Marvel versus the Wonder Woman movie, I'm like, shut up. That's just because they're two women. They're completely different stories.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
but this.
I mean, this is legitimately
a face-off of Marvel and DC.
If both groups are written by the same guy.
And now it becomes the debate of, well, is it better to go first or second? Because Eternals comes out next year. New Gods doesn't even have a cast.
Yeah.
I personally think it's always better to go second because you get to see what the first one does. And the Eternals, no one knows, no cares about.
But here's the problem with going second.
If the first one hits it off really well.
No one could care. If the first one does really well,
no one can care about the second.
And
I completely
you come
agree.
off as a copy.
Yeah, and this is where I have this example of why this matters. If you remember the horror and the dread and the absolute disgrace that was Dark Phoenix.
Correct.
They did a lot of reshoots, not just because their movie sucked, but because so much of their movie was exactly the same tone and narrative-wise to Captain Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a female who has these powers that she doesn't know how to control. Right. Oh, they're going up into space in a thing that can't actually navigate in space. Right. Oh, she's going up into space with her new discovered and controllable powers to stop a fleet of invaders. Oh, there's an invasion of aliens that can shapeshift.
Yeah.
They're the same
super similar
thing.
Yeah.
And the problem, sure, maybe if New Gods comes out a year later, but Captain Marvel and Dark Phoenix were months apart. No, they weren't. They were Captain Marvel came out a year. It was a year. It was a year difference. So the same thing still applies. It could still be a fucking problem.
Yeah. It would be so cool if New Gods was also done so that they could both come out at the same time.
Oh, it wasn't a year. I'm sorry.
Then you could really see. Yeah. Then you could really see what movie does better.
Captain Marvel came out in March, and then Dark Phoenix came out in June. So months apart, and you see that curse.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it could go either way.
I think, but for me, what I think DC has going for it is phenomenal director.
Yeah.
Characters with weight. You're telling me you're putting Darkseid in a movie? Even someone who doesn't read comics will see that character in a trailer and know some shit's about to go down. Right.
Just don't. Here's the problem. Is if they do to Darkseid what they did to Beowulf.
To who?
Beowulf. The guy.
So I'm about to be insulted for this mistake. What are you talking about?
The bad guy in Justice League. Beowulf.
Steppenwolf. So fucking disgusting.
I feel like if they fuck up, they won't. If they fuck up Darkseid,
they figured it out. They're the three.
I know
movies,
his side also, but I'm saying it Darkseid because it looks like Said.
That's how you say. Yeah. Well, you're being obnoxious. One Wonder Woman, did phenomenal.
Yeah.
Aquaman, critically not the best, but box office phenomenal and visually outstanding. Everyone go fuck themselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shazam. Overall, in hindsight, was fine, but it did good. Was good.
Yeah.
For what the property's about, they figured
about a kid. So
DC figured out the formula.
Yeah.
They know what to do and what not to do.
Right.
Birds of Prey makes me nervous. That looks like shit. But
I really don't want another Suicide Squad.
I'm so fucked.
I don't want another Suicide Squad.
I don't know why that's happening. But then you have New Gods, and out of all the upcoming projects for DC, because of that director, because of the Darkseid announcement, because Female Furies is going to be in there,
has DC had a successful ensemble superhero movie? Because think about Batman vs Superman didn't really do great.
No. So no.
But that was close to an ensemble. It wasn't a full ensemble.
They haven't.
Justice League did not do well.
They have never.
Suicide Squad did not do well.
So they've never had a full ensemble. So
They haven't had a successful ensemble movie.
Well, no, Birds of Prey will be their will be their next attempt.
Right, but if that fails,
which looks like shit. Black Canary, I'm like, that's not Black Canary. Why is Harley Quinn here? I think it's just so ridiculous. I can't. This is like sidestepping a little bit, but I just gotta say it. When it comes to the Birds of Prey thing, I know people are like Margot Robbie heads and they love her to death.
Right.
I think yes, she did. I wouldn't say phenomenal as Harley Quinn.
I think that they should have. I think that they should not have added her to this. If they really wanted to milk her more, milk that character more, give her her own movie, or just do something with her and maybe the new Joker. But you can't because they're two different types.
But this is my thing. You could have the pieces in the comics are already in place for you to have done something with Harley Quinn that would have been accurate and representative of the character. It's called. They could have done Sirens.
Oh,
no, not
Sirens. Yes.
They could have. God, is it called Sirens?
I think it was Sirens.
Gotham City Sirens. Poison Ivy, and Catwoman.
And Catwoman, yes. Do that instead. We have not seen Poison Ivy in a while.
Since Uma Thurman.
So you can redo that one.
And you could have introduced a comics accurate Catwoman.
Correct.
into the DCEU. And
the last comment that we
it would have been feminist because you got an all-female cast.
Right.
Female leads. You would have gotten the three only female villains in the Batman universe.
Right.
It would have been but
that would have been big because everyone loves everyone knows Poison Ivy. People that aren't comic book fans know Poison Ivy.
It would
Catwoman. Who doesn't know Catwoman?
But what you just touched is why. Time will tell when we get a Birds of Prey trailer and what we actually see from that movie.
Right.
But if I understand correctly, Margot Robbie produced Birds of Prey. And I think that actress, when needing to decide how to make her movie, I think star ego got in the way. Because if you tell me that if she had done Sirens with Poison Ivy, who I'd say, yes, Harley Quinn is more famous than Poison Ivy.
Catwoman isn't that. She's not
way
as famous
more.
as Catwoman.
Catwoman dances circles around Harley Quinn.
Right.
And you wouldn't have been able to, you would have had to cast, I think you would have had to have cast an A-list or someone really big for the Catwoman role.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been the Harley Quinn show. It would have been
Catwoman and her two sidekicks.
Or at least, sorry, not to be a dick to Margot Robbie, just an even movie about the three characters.
Right.
When Birds of Prey is called Birds of Prey and the something emancipation of one Harley Quinn.
Right.
You're not a part of the Birds of Prey. You forced your way in there, and you've put yourself exclusively in the title aside from Birds of Prey.
Right.
Like you're fucking Josie and the Pussycats.
But see, that's my problem is, I didn't know that I didn't know that Harley Quinn was producing this.
Yeah.
But also,
and the actresses that she's cast for Black, no offense to Smollett, the actresses that she's cast as Black Canary and Huntress, the other leads, they're not A-list actors.
Right.
She's the biggest star in the movie, and that's totally intentional.
I thought this whole thing was a money grab by DC.
So far, I still think it is a money grab.
But think about the money that would have come in had it been Catwoman and Poison Ivy with her.
Think about how much money would have come in if Sirens were... And people will argue for the casual moviegoer that they don't know even who the Birds of Prey are, so it doesn't matter.
They don't.
But I'm sorry, if you said, oh, this actress has been cast to play Barbara Gordon, everyone knows who Barbara Gordon is.
Right.
So if you had put her in a movie, people would know. Is it too late? Could she show up in the movie? Could she still appear in Birds of Prey? Maybe as a surprise.
Right. Because she's originally in the Birds of Prey.
She is one of the founding members of the Birds of Prey.
It's Barbara Gordon,
Black Canary, and Huntress.
It's
also a trio.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
You want to know what you could have done too? You could have done, fuck it, do Birds of Prey versus Sirens. 3-on-3. Oh
my God.
It would have been...
Look, as somebody who doesn't care about basically any of this,
God.
If I had to go if I had to go see one of these movies, in a heartbeat, opening night, I would be there Thursday to go see Sirens.
Same.
Poison Ivy, are you kidding me? Catwoman, of course. And Harley Quinn, obviously I'm there.
Yeah, because she is a good Harley Quinn. I'm not taking that away.
I don't have any interest and the slightest to go see this Birds of Prey shit.
I'm waiting for a trailer, but...
No disrespect to the other actresses.
We're 7 months away from Birds of Prey.
Right.
We either get a teaser next month or there's Trouble in Paradise. For me, if I don't see a trailer or something 6 months within release, to me, that spells trouble. I've never seen a movie that didn't release something 6 months in advance and actually did well on release.
Right.
And you need enough time to release something, because if it's ass, then you're gonna get Sonic.
Especially not if it's supposed to be like a blockbuster superhero movie.
You want to build that.
If it's like an indie movie and you don't hear about shit, and then it comes out and you're like, wow, that was a really good movie.
So far from set stills, Birds of Prey looks low budget.
Oh yeah, I'm not.
But
I'm definitely watching.
I just don't want to see the Harley Quinn show. Right. And that's just not. That's not for me.
You should have just given us a standalone Harley Quinn movie. That's really what you wanted.
And
don't shoehorn into this other thing that has nothing to do with her, just to like.
Also, people don't know, but like as like the resident gay, Harley Quinn's bisexual, and her and Poison Ivy have a romantic relationship. And in the animated series and in the comics, they've been roommates together. They've lived together. They've had stuff together. If you had done Sirens, you could have explored that. You could have done a freaking bisexual villain in Harley Quinn. You could have explored that in the big screen. No, Birds of Prey.
Yeah, I'm not happy with it at all.
I'm not really. I don't think a lot of people are happy with it. Again, I'll always give it a shot. I talked mad shit about the Joker movie when that was announced.
True.
I'm still not really. I think it looks great quality. I'm still upset that slot is being filled for a Joker exclusive movie,
right?
As opposed to a Green Lantern movie,
sure.
As opposed to a Flash movie,
right.
As opposed to like other things I would love to see.
But I think
made.
it's almost gotten to the point where Batman things are almost their own like body.
Yeah, but
and then you've got DC shit, even though it's all under the same thing.
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
But that's also for me like we gotta stop using Batman as a crutch.
Of course.
Let's start doing. And next year we only have Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 84.
I'm also getting tired of the 80s. But that's a whole.
I could do a whole episode, and actually am kind of tempted to do a whole episode on why all the female-led superhero movies so far are all period pieces.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that at a different episode.
Anyway, that's the episode. Really just want to talk about the Eternals and New Gods. There's so much more things I wanted to touch on about those two movies. Ultimately, I'm not excited for Eternals. I think that Feige's decision, and this is something else.
The thing is, I'm excited for Eternals because one, I do like the cast so far.
Oh, it's Salma Hayek. Are you kidding me?
And two, regardless of it being the Eternals and not New Gods, from what I'm hearing, regardless, Marvel has done a really good job.
Right. Their track record already makes me have to see this just based off of their reputation alone. Agreed.
So, even though I don't want to watch it,
they might pull it off.
It's Marvel. They're going to probably do really well.
And in a lot of ways, you think it's a weakness, but it also could prove to be a strength that no one knows who the Eternals are, because it means that no one's holding Feige, or the studio accountable, that they have to be comics accurate.
It's Guardians of the Galaxy. Like,
he can do what he wants with it because no one knows. He gender swapped half the cast from the comic for the movie, and no one noticed, no one cared because no one knows. So three of the Salma Hayek's character is male in the comics, made her female. The deaf actress, her character is male, making her female. The kid is supposed to be male. It's a female actress doing it. So there's this giant swap, which. Right. I don't know if he could have predicted it or if he has like an ear, but it's also like, is it coincidence that the New Gods movie is definitely going to have the Furies in it? So you're trying to be more female present with your Eternals to be a more direct competitor. I don't know, but there's so many things to the Marvel DC dichotomy that I'm like, they smell too like. To be like when the Black Panther trailer came out a day after DC dropped something to basically wipe any attention away from it.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean they're competitive. They're huge competitors. They're gonna do that to each other.
So I mean I agree. I think Eternals will likely be good,
successful at least.
Yeah, at least successful, or at least Doctor Strange, Ant-Man level successful.
Right. Whether or not it's good. It's obviously up for debate, but we know that because it's Marvel and because of their track record and their reputation,
people will go because they know.
See it.
Yeah,
and they'll be at least intrigued by it.
God, but I'm rooting for New Gods. This is the one fight of two comic properties people barely know that I really want DC to win.
I'm rooting for DC bad.
I want New Gods. I just love those.
I don't know anything about any of this shit, but I am rooting for DC badly.
Aesthetically, just what they were able to create with Atlantis for Aquaman
was awesome.
To see New Genesis and Apocalypse come to life, I'm like, that's just gonna look. And if they do it, and I really think, and I hope Ava DuVernay does this, where you have. Again, Thor Ragnarok was so visually inspired by Jack Kirby's art and his style in the shapes of the costumes and the buildings and the spaceships and everything. Go Kirby with New Gods, because that's part of the allure of the original comic. Go with those shapes, those colors, those those ships, the just that organic life that he created on those pages. If she really embraces that for New Gods instead of going fucking dark, cryptic, The Matrix.
Yeah.
And it's also the thing is, it's also to the very DNA of those characters' costumes. If you Google and look at Big Barda, Mr. Miracle, Orion, just how they're
do some research on these Big Barda types,
how their costumes look, and even Granny Goodness, how their
Granny Goodness.
She's a stone cold bitch, and I'm really
Granny Goodness.
Yo,
Big Barda. Jesus, it sounds like a superhero group right out of a nursing home.
On that note, everyone, we're gonna wrap up episode 3. Thank you so much for tuning in for all of my frustrating rants, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much, guys.